Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Villa on Tour. Summer is here. Well, sort of, anyway. It's not great outside. And that does, of course, mean that I'm struggling for video ideas. Now, the season ended 2 weeks ago. The Euros are only round the corner, so you'd think this would be a quiet period for Aston Villa. Well, we've had Unai Emery signing a brand new contract. We've had another new badge. We've all but signed a brand new midfielder, and the season ticket information came out as well. So this video is just basically going to be compacting all of that into a nice short summary video. And if you do want to enjoy these, let me know down in the comments, so I might do more of them over the summer. Now for me, there's only one place we can start, and I think, typical cliche, it's the best signing of the summer already, Unai Emery's brand new 5-year contract. And it's funny because he only signed a contract extension literally a couple of weeks before, back in April. I think that was until 2027 though. This one, 2029, a big beefy 5-year deal. Yes, please. Now I know ultimately contracts don't mean a lot in football. He could go to Real Madrid next summer quite easily if they wanted to pay for his release clause or whatever it is, his buyout fee, whatever. I think it's more the statement this gives off, the intention, the drive that we've now got, giving the best manager that we've had in my lifetime especially, a big boy deal. He's not going anywhere, mate. I was literally out for a walk with my girlfriend's family. I'd get back and see the tweet and I genuinely thought it was a parody account, literally because he'd signed a deal so recently before that. But oh no, it was real. There was a wicked picture of Nassef Sawiris and Unai Emery. I don't know where it was, but it looked like a nice jazzy golf course. Probably somewhere like Spain or somewhere lovely like that. But there's a quote from Nassef Sawiris which says, "We are building something special here at Aston Villa with Unai at its core, and we are delighted that he signed a new deal with the club until 2029. As we move into our historic 150th anniversary year, there is a lot to look forward to with Unai at the helm." Look, Nassef, you couldn't be more spot on there, son. Unai Emery, lockdown at Aston Villa, love it. However, stop doing stuff now, Unai. Stop signing deals. Go and have a holiday. Go to like Butlins for a week. Just go and have a rest, mate. Anyway, moving on. The brand new badge. What do you make of that? Now, it's quite interesting, and a lot of stuff that I'm going to take in this video and talk about in this video is taken from the Fan Advisory Board notes. They are public, they are free, out there on the internet for anybody to go and view. Just go and search Fan Advisory Board Aston Villa and you get loads of information about the current goings on at Aston Villa and all the things that we want to know about and all the things that I'm going to talk about in this video. Now, it's something that My Old Man Said talks about a lot in their podcast. If you haven't already checked them out, please go and do that because they offer so much information that you don't get elsewhere and you don't get from other Villa podcasts because they are literally involved in that Fan Advisory Board process. And they were maybe asking a couple of questions about whether the club maybe didn't go through the brand new FA process correctly. And that is all around these things called heritage assets at Aston Villa. So that includes the club's colours, the club's stadium, the stadium name, the club badge, really basic staple things about any club. And so there's brand new rules coming in terms of the fact that if you want to change one of those things, you have to go through the correct channels, and maybe Villa didn't do that. That's still up in the air and it's not something I want to comment on too much. And again, if you want to go and check out more information on that, go and check out the My Old Man Said podcast. Very, very good and underrated. Now, this comes from the Fan Advisory Board and this comes from Villa directly, and they have said, whilst further changes to heritage assets are extremely unlikely, we acknowledge that certain groups of fans believe that the consultation process should have been run differently. We will take these views into account should we find ourselves in this position again in the future. Anyway, let's talk about the badge itself. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I'm not mad about it. And some people don't even care about the badge. They don't care, like we could have a banana as a badge. It doesn't matter, they wouldn't care. It's still Aston Villa, and I totally understand that. Like, if you don't care about the badge, that's fine. But me personally, you know, for a lot of people, it is really important. And now going to a brand new one where it looks like the Randy Lerner one. It's still got the yellow lion. It hasn't got a lot of claret on it, although the claret around the outside is improved a little bit, I think. You've taken AVFC, put Aston Villa, you've still got the 1874 on there. I understand what they've done, but I just can't believe that with all the feedback that we've given them, that's what they can get out of it. I think, yes, the main points were get Aston Villa on there, great, done. But I also think the other main point that a lot of people said, me, Simon, we said this to each other, you want more claret on there. And I think that's one thing they did do with the circle badge. I wasn't mad about the shape of the circle badge because it feels like every other club has got one. But the main thing for me was it was claret, and that's probably number one point I want on the Villa badge. However, let's look at it on the other side. What I will say is it looks good on the other colour palettes. They released this video, Villa, and I'm not mad about the claret and blue version, the basic version, although it does look better in some images than others. It does look good in the other colour palettes, whether you see that on the away kit, the third kit, whatever it is, it does look good in other sort of colour colourways, I think, anyway. So anyway, it is a major talking point, the badge. Get involved in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking, because like I said, it is the main bit about Aston Villa, the badge. It's the bit that everybody sees. It's got to be done correctly. Anyway, just before we do move into the next segment of the video, a quick shout out to Luke 1977. As you can see, I'm sporting some lovely Luke gear at the moment. They are constantly bringing out brand new ranges, especially going into summer. You need some brand new Luke gear, I think. And if you do fancy getting yourself any gear from over at Luke, please do use my code MAX20, which gets you a lovely 20% off. Whether that's on the brand new Chris Wokes edit, which is absolutely gorgeous, some unreal gear in there, or any other full price gear, use my code MAX20 for a massive 20% off over at Luke. Anyway, park the badge. Let's talk about what's going on at Villa Park. So, according to the notes, you've got in the Holt lower, rail seating above vomitories and seating, gangways, realignments. In the Holt upper, where I sit, you've got brand new rail seating as well, which I'm absolutely buzzing about. In the North Stand upper, you've got seating and gangway realignments. And the Doug Ellis lower, they've got rail seating as well in the away end. Now, I can only talk about from a personal point of view of where I sit in K4 in the upper Holt, row 24. We've got safe standing for this season upcoming, which I'm absolutely buzzing about. Can't wait for that. The amount of times we've had scenes celebrating goals and people have tumbled down. The one that I remember that sticks in my mind is Horahan scoring against West Brom. Remember in the playoffs, that first goal outside of the box, unbelievable. I sit on row 24. I must have been in the teens there, row 18, whatever it was. Chaos. So rail seating, keeping us a little bit more maintained in our rows when we do have to celebrate goals. I love that. Rail seating seems to be coming up everywhere. Pretty much every away end you go to in the Premier League now has got rail seating, safe standing, so I'm all for it. Bring it in, happy days. It is interesting what they're doing with realigning some of the sort of aisles and walkways all over the ground. Again, that's something that we'll have to see what it looks like next season when we go to the first home game, but it's definitely something quite interesting that it's worth keeping an eye on. However, something that I don't like talking about too much, hospitality at Villa Park. There's going to be an increase of 1,300 hospitality spaces at Villa Park. Now, something that's very topical as we speak, season tickets. The window to renew your season ticket for 24-25 has literally just opened as I'm filming this yesterday. I need to get on that, by the way. I need to renew my season ticket, get on that. Now, going back a couple of weeks, we were seeing photos of the North Stands being absolutely ripped up. There were seats being ripped up all over the place. And I think the main thing that's going to come out of this video is the lack of communication that we get as supporters about what's going on with our seats, around us, whatever, even if we're going to have our seat for next season. The main thing for me is that lacking in communication. It's been really, really poor. Not even just for this window, for quite a while now at Villa, I think, anyway. Now, obviously, we know now the reasons they're ripping up the seats was to realign the gangways, the aisles, and literally just to replace the seats as well, because a lot of them had become faded and it was a little bit inconsistent across the ground. You don't want that. Now, it was just the fact people were seeing that, and there was rumours, obviously, that there's new hospitality, of people going to get moved out of the season ticket seat they'd had for years. And we'll talk about prices in a minute, but one thing that I do want to highlight and do want to mention that made me annoyed and also laugh, it was that comical, the fact that they're putting some of these hospitality seats in R2, and if you don't know where R2 is, it's right in the lower north, right by the away end. So you're going to get these prawn sandwich brigade hospitality people next to the away end when you've got PSG coming and they're going to be launching flares at the lower north. I'm not too sure whose idea that was. And another thing that made me more annoyed, and this is why, you want that atmosphere, you want it going off between the home and away fans because it just creates something. That's English football. You want that banter going back and forth, I think. And especially, we all know the sort of demographic of people who sit there are teenage lads who just want to go and have a bit of fun, have a few beers and sit there winding up the away fans, and that's fine. And the fact you're removing that sort of atmosphere generation aspects and putting hospitality there, not for me. You're asking these people who've sat there for years and years, who love generating that atmosphere, to move elsewhere into the stadium. So overall, you're just dissipating that atmosphere. It's poor. So I think, yes, it's that hospitality aspect, but also if you think about it a bit more, you are losing that atmosphere. And the atmosphere is something, it's such a big topic that people have talked about for a long time at Villa, and you need to keep it in any way you can, and putting hospitality in somewhere that generates that atmosphere, and that one block that generates that atmosphere at Villa Park. Yeah, it annoyed me that. I'm not too sure whose idea that was. Now, me personally, my season ticket has gone up 5% to £818, which a 5% increase doesn't seem too bad, but let's not forget the major increases we'd seen in the 2 seasons previous. And I think concessions is where they're going to make a lot of money this year. You're talking kids, under 14s, under 18s, they are seeing a much bigger increase than just that basic 5% for adults. You're talking about, in some examples that I've seen, basically doubling it for kids. Now, obviously, you can either pay for your season ticket outright or in a monthly finance scheme, and they advertise this monthly finance scheme is interest free, but then you go onto it and there's a £44 to £55-ish arrangement fee. Now, whether that's down to Villa or down to the finance company, that's most certainly not interest-free at all. And it was interesting because that arrangement fee disappeared. Season tickets came out yesterday as I'm filming this, and that arrangement fee disappeared at like 6, 7 o'clock. So that stinks of Villa seeing that social media reaction and just thinking, we need to get rid of this. People have sniffed it out. Now that's me putting my conspiracy hat on, but that's what it looked like anyway. Last little bit on season tickets then, and it's interesting because in the last couple of years, there's been 29,000 season ticket holders. This year that we're going into, 27,000. So you can see it from Villa's perspective, season ticket holders, they're not the money maker. They want to get rid of us essentially if they could. If everybody could pay those 60, 70, 80 pound singular tickets for every match day, Villa will be loving that because that's where the revenue is. They don't want people getting discounts with season tickets, absolutely not, and that's understandable. I do get it. So if you are on the waiting list, it looks like, especially with Villa being this good as well, you might be waiting a good while. Just before the last little bit then on this video where we will talk a little bit about transfers and England and any other business, please do leave a like on the video if you have enjoyed this. If we can hit 1,000 likes, that would be unbelievable. Show your support if you have enjoyed this video, that would mean a lot to me as well. Please do subscribe if you haven't already as well. 62,000 subscribers at the moment, unbelievable. My aim is to get around 70, 75,000 by the end of the season. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot. Leave a like and let's get into this transfer business. Looks like Ross Barkley could be coming back to Aston Villa. Really interesting, and that's got some mixed reviews on what I've seen on Twitter. Fabrizio Romano on Twitter has said that it's a rumoured 5 million fee from Luton. I'm surprised it's probably that much. I would have thought it would have been 1 or 2, but still 5 million in this day and age. Can you argue with that? Probably not. He had a fantastic season last year with a really struggling Luton side. He was the main guy in that side for a lot of the season. And since we had him at Villa during the COVID years, he has changed that role a little bit. Obviously, he went to Nice, probably didn't have the best time over there, came to Luton, and he had a brand new role. It was a little bit deeper. And that is interesting. The amount of times you'd see him with Luton drive with the ball and be that main man, get them up the pitch. Obviously, they defended so much last season. He would be that guy, get the ball from deep, drive up the pitch. And I think the main thing is that he did stay fit. When he was at Villa, it was him and Grealish in that sort of free roam role. Dean Smith just said, right lads, you go and do your thing. And a lot of the time, he was very, very good, Ross Barkley, I thought. But then he got that injury, I think it was against Brighton at home when we lost. And then there was rumours that his attitude probably wasn't spot on. So I think there was a couple of factors there which didn't quite work out with Ross Barkley at Villa. But I think on the face of it, you need backup. Dendon could probably go in. We've seen how stretched the squad has been this season. And for that fee, with someone who's proven himself in the season just gone in the Premier League, I like it. Especially in that area of the pitch when you've got Kamara, who's still out with that ACL injury, not looking like he's coming back till October, November. It's fantastic cover in there. Dendon could probably go in. I take it. I like it. Obviously, it's important to say that it's not done yet. A few more things need to happen, of course. And you're probably not going to see the sort of transfer dominoes start to sort of kick off for the summer until the Euros and Copa America and whatever it is are out the way. So July time, that is when transfers are going to hot up, I think, anyway. But definitely one to keep an eye on as well. And in terms of outgoings, I'm not too sure. I don't want to talk about that just yet. I'll probably do a video, probably like I said, in July when things do start to kick off a little bit more. Is Douglas Luiz going to go to Juventus for 60, 70 million? We'll leave that. We'll park that for another day. Let me know if you want to see that. But anyway, any other business just to finish off this video? England. Obviously, with the Euros just around the corner, it's got to talk about the Villa boys. Ezri Konsa last night in that friendly against Bosnia and Herzegovina, absolutely unbelievable. He's so just fluid, I think, in those two roles. He can play centre-back, right-back, and I thought he did really well. So composed. A couple of really good bits from him last night. Ezri Konsa, for me, a shoe-in to go to the Euros. He's so versatile in that right-back, which obviously he started in last night. Centre-back, he's pacey, he looked good, he looked flexible, he looked comfortable last night for sure. So I think he's a shoe-in to go to the Euros without doubt. Ollie Watkins, again, for me, a shoe-in to go. Probably could have done a little bit better last night. Had that one chance early on where he probably could have scored. But I think in terms of how good you're going to get as a backup striker, doesn't get much better for me. But either way, it'll be nice to see a couple of Villa boys representing their country at the Euros. And hopefully it comes time and we can see Ollie Watkins and Ezri Konsa holding that Euros trophy. Glorious. And I think that's it in terms of Villa news. Obviously, I haven't talked about the kits. No doubt they'll come out literally as I post this video, so it goes out of date immediately, but it's one to keep an eye on for sure. Obviously, I could have gone into much more detail and a lot of things I covered in this video, but I wanted to be a sort of shorter roundup video, so let me know if you did enjoy it. A lot of people asked me about where the podcast has gone as well. I just don't have time for it. I'm very busy. Obviously, I've got a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job as well, and it does take a bit of time to record it, edit it. So I think going into next season, especially with the Champions League as well, we'll try and record them sort of off and on throughout the season. It might not be a regular every Monday thing, whatever, but we'll 100% try and get a couple of them out for sure. And I do appreciate everyone who says they do miss the podcast. That means a lot. Thank you very much. And yeah, like I said, do get involved in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking in any of the things that I've talked about in this video. I'm interested to obviously hear, as always, your guys' thoughts. Leave a like on the video. Let's try and hit 1,000 likes. That'd be unbelievable. Subscribe if you haven't already. I shall see you in the next one, whenever that shall be. And one more thing left to say, ladies and gentlemen, up the Villa.